obviously, because we want to talk a bit about the game coming up, but Chelsea this weekend, Don, really good performance from your boys.
Yeah, I think we dug in deep, man. I think we dug in deep. One thing that I said before Brighton was, listen, we need to get all 3 points by any means. Initially, bro, I can't lie to you, Terry, I was at the game, yeah, and Brighton, they were controlling the game a lot more than we did. Even after we scored the 2 goals, because of the height, you know, we had 4 centre-backs playing on like yesterday. We weren't really controlling the game, in my opinion. Brighton were beating our press a lot, but it's just in that final third, they didn't have that quality. And you saw that quality come on when they brought on Mitoma in the second half. Do you know what I mean? But slowly, we were growing into the game. And then Gallagher, when they made a stupid decision, you know, being sent off like that. Do you know what I'm saying? The ref was trigger happy with all the yellow cards. And then he goes and does that so early on in the game. And that completely threw the game plan that we had out of the window. But to be honest, again, the boys, they were good, man. They were good. They played really well. Badiashile, you know, he was solid. I got onto him after the Newcastle game. Everyone was poor, but for me, he was the best player on the pitch. Enzo Fernandez, is good to finally get that first goal. Then he got another goal, you know, scored that penalty after missing one against West Ham. So I was happy with the 3 points, but in terms of the overall performance, I've seen us play better. But again, we only had 10 men, do you know what I mean? Up against Brighton, one of the best teams when it comes to popping it out from the back and pressing you as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't expect us to play against that, play like that against United. I expect Reece James to come back in. You know, I expect Cucurella to come back in as well at fullback. So we have a balanced defense, and then we move from there. Do you know what I'm saying? We move from there. But I want to big up Poch, man. I think, you know, his in-game management was spot on, because in the second half he realized that Disasi was getting cooked by Mitoma. He took Sterling off. Sterling defensively ain't the greatest, in my opinion. He brought on Cole Palmer. He brought on Maatsen. And then he put Disasi at centre back. So it was good in-game management from Poch, man. And the players, like I said, the players, they dug deep to go and get that win, you know. People were saying, oh, it was Brighton's C team, was Brighton's B team. I'm sorry, Brighton's C team went to United, Old Trafford, and beat them 3-1. Do you know what I mean? Brighton are very well drilled. It doesn't matter who comes in, they play the exact same way. Obviously, the quality is different in terms of the players, but they play the exact same way. Same thing as Newcastle. So we had to get the 3 points, man, and move from there, because now, if we beat United on Wednesday, we're literally a point behind them after everyone was saying Chelsea in a crisis right now. So we move, man. We move. We collect the 3 points and we keep it moving.
Let's not pretend you're not in a crisis, though, Don. You are still in a crisis, Bray.
Bro, we've won 6 wins. We've got 6 wins in our last 10 games. It's the start of the season. It's the start of the season.
This is still in a crisis.
It's the start of the season, bro. It's the start of the season that's let us down, bro. We've got 6 wins in 10 games.
Yeah, but you're still in a crisis.
The last 10.
Yeah, but you're still in a crisis.
What crisis is that?
You're 10th.
What?
I know what
Don does, bro. This is what this Don guy does, bro.
I know what 10th, but it's not. I'm not looking, bro. I'm not looking at it like doom and gloom. When you say crisis, what do you mean by that? Expand on that, Lewis.
Bro, you just said if we win, we're
no. I asked you a question, Lewis. Yeah, you City fans a little bit touchy this weekend. You lot alright, yeah? You lot alright? You're a little bit touchy, you know.
Bro,
this weekend.
I don't know what you're saying, bro. Where are your standards, man? Your club is 10th in the league, and you're saying you're not in a crisis.
I know my club's 10th. I know my club's 10th in the league right now.
You're still much in a crisis, bro.
But okay, but expand on it. That's what I'm asking you. Expand on it.
What is there to expand on? Your club could be winning title. You spent £1 billion, and you're sitting in 10th.
We should be, bro. And that's why I'm happy with the 3 points that we got, bro. I'm happy with it. And if you call it a crisis, cool. We need to get out of the crisis by winning more games and beating United on Wednesday. Yeah, slowly climbing up. But I've spoken about that every week, though, Lewis. I've spoken about that every week.
If you go back to your sentence, it just has the answer in it. You said if we beat United on Wednesday, we're 1 point behind them after people said we're in a crisis. That is the crisis. You're about to be 1 point behind United if you win. That's not something to celebrate, because you know what? United themselves are in a crisis. So if you're 1 point behind a team who's in a crisis, what does that mean about you? Like I can't believe you even asked that, bro. And you just said we had 6. One second, you said we had 6 wins out of our last 10? Bro, we have 4 wins out of our last 6. You don't see me sitting here celebrating.
Yeah, but look at the context. Bro. Look at the context of how you're winning the games, though, Staffy. You can't take away the context of how you're playing in comparison to how we're playing. A lot of our games that we've lost this year is because of a lack of clinical edge, not because we've been being cut through by United. I know we got battered by Newcastle, but I look at how we've lost the games completely differently to how United have won their games or lost their games this season. You guys have been shocking.
If you lose to Man United, will you say you're in a crisis then?
Hey, I told you already, Terry. If we lose to Man United, someone upstairs is getting us a serious backhand, bro. I'm telling you, because there's no way we should be losing to you lot. There's no way.
So will you be in a crisis then?
Hey, If you want to call it that,
I mean, he is in a.
If you want to call it that, yes. If you want to call it that,
yes.
yes. If we lose to United, we're in a fucking crisis.
Okay, fine.
I don't think it's we. I think everyone is aware of that except for you. So maybe
I'll be wrong. We're in a crisis if we lose to United, man, because we should be beating, man.
Don, are you concerned about your disciplinary record? Because you've had 48 yellow cards and 3 red cards this season so far, which to me is unacceptable.
It is, man. It is. You know, these guys are just, again, young players. You know, they're losing their head a little bit too much, and it's not good. It's not good. There's no excuses for it. You shouldn't be getting booked the amount of times that you have been. Jackson's nearly on his 10th yellow card already. Again, do you know what I'm saying? He just had 5 the other month, and now he's nearly on 10. So it's a bit mad, man. We need to. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking at us. We're on 48 yellow cards. Arsenal on 19, Rory? Is it 19 that you guys are on?
Might even be 18, but yeah, it's not
something like that. Yeah, it's mad. It's mad right now.
Is
19. Discipline. It needs to improve, man. But honestly, I'm just happy that we got the 3 points yesterday because again, I've been banging on about performances weekly. We've improved from last year, but there's only so much I can keep banging on about that. We need to start, picking up these results. So
obviously, Enzo Fernandez we were braced yesterday. It's interesting. It was in the same week that he was being called out by Igal. Igal seems to always, if you want one of your players to improve, let Igal slag him off because something always happens. How impressed were you with his performance and, of course, him stepping up and grabbing 2 big goals for you?
Terry, I see these performances from Enzo pretty much every week. But what happened yesterday was that he got a goal and he got an assist and everyone was watching the game. When people slander Enzo, they don't watch him, in my opinion, because I've come on there and explained the role that he has in this team. So, for me, I think Enzo was top yesterday, man. He was literally, up and down. He was progressing the play again from back to front, and he scored 2 goals. So, I mean, I was really impressed with Enzo, man. One of his best performances in the Chelsea top. But again, a lot of how he was playing, he plays like that weekly. He does play like that weekly.
I hear you.
It's funny that he was getting praised on for scoring 2 goals, but not for what he's supposed to do as a midfielder. And as you said, he does that every week. But because he scored a penalty and a header from like a yard away, people were like, "Oh my God, look, he got the GA, bro." He was never meant to get the GA. Like it was never a part of his game, anyways. I saw people tweeting about him saying, "Oh, look, he has more GA now than Rice. He has more GA than they were comparing to someone else. I forgot who it was.
Martinelli and Jesus. He's got more goals than both of them.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing: this is why GA or stats. Let me say this: stats is usually deceiving. Because when you look at it, you're like, oh, he's had more goals. Okay. But bro, at the end of the day, he got him in 1 game. And he's not that type of player who's meant to get you the goals anyways. So all of a sudden now, are people going to rate him? Like, I would love to know how many people rated him now because he has 2 more goals than 2 goals. And that's more than Martinelli and the likes of them. Because that, to me, I'm going to be very honest with you as an outsider, that means fuck all to me. The guy needs to come in and do his job as a midfielder anyways. I actually keep the same energy with all my midfielders. I never rated Scott McTominay because he scored 4 goals for us last month. Obviously, I'm not making a comparison between McTominay and Enzo because Enzo's is light years ahead of him. But the thing is, I never rated him because he was scoring his goals. Because at the end of the day, he wasn't doing his job on the pitch as a midfielder. And we clearly see it in United. Same thing should be applied to Enzo. I should never use GA to define what he does for the team. Now, I understand the worries when you guys lose a game. Should he be doing better to control games? I'll have that convo. But when you talk about just GA in general, and now all of a sudden you're going to rate him, I would love to know what Igal thought yesterday because I know Igal would have been like, you know what? Fair play, this and that. Bro, it has nothing to do with the G. No, you already know Igal. He's going to hold
your voice as well. You went all Michael Jackson on us. I like it.
That's what it is. Listen, it's a force of habit. It's a force of habit.
Staffy, what it is, it's an agenda. Do you know what I mean? It's an agenda. That's what it is. Like, people are praying that he flops at Chelsea. But like I said, like I've been saying weekly, if you watch us week in, week out, you know how important Enzo is. There's so many games where I'm seeing him making the pass before the main pass for us to score a goal or to get in a position to score a goal. But if you're not watching the games, you're not seeing that. All you're seeing is Enzo again, he hasn't got an assist. Enzo again, he hasn't got a goal. Oh, so Enzo must have played crap. Oh, Chelsea have lost again. Oh, it's Enzo's fault. That's the energy that I've been seeing on Twitter. And I just block it out, bro, because I know what Enzo's been doing. I'm not going to be gaslighted into thinking that he's been crap. You know, he can improve. You know, in front of goal, he's been poor. I'll be honest with you. He hasn't been good in front of goal. He's had so many shots. I think he's had the most shots this season without converting them as a midfielder, right? From midfield this season, right? But overall, bro, he's been doing his job. He can improve. He's only 22? Do you know what I'm saying? He's here for 8 years, bro.
I said this last week, Don. I think I said it on Hassam's channel. I said Enzo right now is getting the Pogba treatment. Pogba was an expensive midfielder that had so many expectations from him, but people mistake price tags with GA because you're an expensive midfielder and you won a World Cup and you were the best young player in the tournament, whatever. People expect you to come in and you're going to score. You're going to have a Yaya Toure season where you score 20 goals and whatever. That's not normal. That's not what these players are meant to do. He was suffering the same thing Pogba suffered from. The team around him wasn't good enough. He was doing what he can do best, but the team around him wasn't getting wins, wasn't finishing shots, wasn't wasn't getting clean sheets. And then when the team loses, people look at the overall record and who's the easiest one to blame? The most expensive player on the pitch, which is Enzo. So Enzo is technically this new era's Pogba because he has the technical ability, but he plays a role that doesn't get the game-winning goals and all that. And people, unfortunately, that's what a lot of people use nowadays to judge, especially people on YouTube and Twitter. It's the era we live in.
Yeah, I hear we say that. I want to go to Rory on this. United, we're going to obviously do score predictions later when we get to golden goal. But in terms of the game, how do you see it playing out Wednesday night? Man United versus Chelsea, biggest game in this sort of midweek clashes for us. How do you see it going, bro?
I think Chelsea will win. I do. I think Chelsea have actually decent away from home this season anyway. And I think they're in form. I think the way that they play, I think they'll control that midfield. And like we've said, Chelsea haven't really struggled to get into teams' penalty areas. It's only been when they get there that they've struggled. And with United at the moment, it is so easy to get to United's penalty box. So I think they'll create enough chances that eventually, even if Jackson misses 4 or 5, one of them will eventually go in. And I don't see United scoring at the other end. So I think I predicted 2-0 for this one. And look, Ten Hag still won't go. I think it will be Anfield before Ten Hag goes, but it's going to be a tough one for United fans to take, I think.
How about yourself, Nobbins? Do you see this being almost like a foregone conclusion, Chelsea away win?
No, I agree with Rory. I do think that it will be a win. I don't think it's going to be a battering, but I'm just thinking that Chelsea are one of the best transitional teams in the league. We saw that in the City game. And the way United play, by definition, encourages teams to win second balls in transition. It's like the perfect recipe for disaster from a United perspective. Like that, as we've seen this whole season, outside of Mainu, they don't have I think that's how it's pronounced. They don't have a midfielder who wants to drop back and. Perfect. Thank you. You are too, Staffy, mate. Love you too. Like a player who wants to receive the ball for the back to play. They don't have anyone like that other than him. So it means it resorts to them punting up long balls to Scott McTominay, which means they're relying on a second ball game, which means you're more open to counterattacks. That's literally what Chelsea will pounce upon, and that's what they thrive on. From a pure ideology perspective, this Chelsea have the advantage. In that sense, I guess it depends if United change how they play. But yeah, I'm going to go with a Chelsea victory as well. Low scoring, but Chelsea win.
Do you know what I'm happy about as well, Nobbins? Yeah, like listen, Gallagher, I've bigged him up all season. I think he's improved drastically from last year. I've said he deserves a new contract, but there's certain games that he's not needed. Yeah, I don't think he's needed against United. You don't need to press United off the park. All you need is quality.
Wait, I actually disagree heavily.
No. We don't need to press you off the park with Gallagher because our other players press as well, Staffy. What I need against you lot is quality, bro. Yeah, quality in midfield. I need quality up front. I need finishers, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? And Cole Palmer, for me, I think is going to come into that 10. You're probably going to see Mudryk on the left and then Sterling on the right, Jackson up top. But I need these man bagging. That's what I need because as long as we've got our shooting boots on, bro, we're gonna beat you, in my opinion. I don't see us losing this game if we have our shooting boots on, in my opinion. That's how I see it. So this is the sort of game where you need quality, man. You need guys that are good on the ball. Yeah, not Gallagher just giving it away sloppily.
The reason I disagree with you is because our midfield, forget it. The midfield struggles in general. I get that, but we struggle the most against athletes. Okay, the one thing about Gallagher that you guys always praise him about is his work effort, his work rate. He puts in a lot of effort. He runs a lot. He presses a lot. When you look at our game against Newcastle, the main thing wasn't the quality. The main thing was the work rate. They ran us off the park. They won every 50-50, like Nubbin said. We weren't good at 50-50s. The last thing we need to go against is a midfield that runs more than us, that's more physical than us, that's faster than us. When I look at your midfield, without Gallagher, you actually miss that. Because I'll tell you what, Enzo has the quality, but we don't struggle against midfields that play a little bit slower. I actually would rather play a team that plays slower football. I knew we were going to get better by Newcastle just for that. Even though they don't have an Enzo in their midfield, but they have Joe Ellington, who I kept saying he was the one I was worrying the most about, and he cooked their midfield. Same thing as Bruno G. You guys don't have that. Now you're mostly gonna, if I'm correct, you're gonna play Cole Palmer in the 10, and you're gonna have Enzo and Caicedo around him. These are technical ballers, don't get me wrong, but the more you slow down the game, the better it is for us because we don't match the team's intensities. Now
But
I understand you have the quality, but I'll tell you something. When you compare, obviously, I'm not saying you guys are like Galatasaray, but Galatasaray played a slow game. We were able to put 3 past them. Technically, if the goalkeeper doesn't have a howler on the other side, that was a 3-1 game. That's just the example, the difference between games like Newcastle and games like Galatasaray. I think the fact that Gallagher is not there, when I found out that he got sent off, it gave me that, that confidence a little bit more because now I don't have to worry. I know Enzo's not going to press Kobe Mino when he gets the ball like that, or Cole Palmer. Maybe he'll do it. He just won't do it as good as Gallagher does. And at least he won't do it for 90 minutes like Gallagher does. So
that I agree with.
To me, I think it's a big
yes. I get where you're coming from, Staffy, and I agree with certain parts of what you've said, but how I'm looking at it a little bit differently. We don't build up slowly from the back, bro. And like I've said, when I was watching Gallagher the other day against Brighton, when I'm watching him trying to pick up the ball, he kept going backwards, bro. Do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer in that half space is a lot more comfortable than what Gallagher is. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just need a lot of quality on the pitch against United because our players press, regardless of Gallagher not being on the pitch. Enzo presses. Palmer's really good at pressing. You know what I mean? Lewis probably saw it a lot at Man City. I've seen it a lot at Chelsea, counter pressing. Caicedo's another counter presser. So I know Gallagher, his main trait is pressing, but we've got good pressers in this team overall. So I need quality on that pitch on the ball. That's what I'm looking for, bro.
It's certainly going to be interesting. Kate, how do you see it going? Do you feel that most people predicting a Chelsea win? How about you?
I think it's going to be tighter than everyone thinks. I think it'll be a draw. I've put 1-1 in my predictions. I don't think Chelsea are good enough to win it away, and I don't think Man United are particularly good enough to win it at home. It doesn't strike me as being that exciting a match, not going to lie. Mid-table teams, just battling it out.
That's a bit rich coming from you, Kate. You lived your whole life watching the mid-table team.
Calm down, darling. I was only joking. But no, I do. I think they'll cancel each other out and it'll be a low-scoring draw. That's my prediction.
Yeah, you know what? One thing I will say, I know you were only joking. Maybe Steffi didn't pick up on English sarcasm in that. Do you know what I mean?
I joked back. So
okay. Yours was.
I mean, I call my team shit every day. So if I come here and I'm upset that someone called us mid-table, I would be a bit.
I hear you. I think the one thing I would say is Man United games are certainly not boring, but because of how bad we are, they make things open. It's going to be a crazy game. We're going to do our score predictions later when we play golden goals on that. Let's go to some of the super chats.